Ciao.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I would like to talk to you about art in education. Art is everywhere around you, in the food that you eat, the clothes that you wear, the cars that you drive to and from work and school and everywhere else, in the phones in your hand, and the ugly color of this wall right here. Art is everywhere. And if exposure to art stopped, our society would head toward a detrimental place. Unfortunately, this process of cutting art in education has already started. And schools are defunding these programs, the art programs, dance programs, music programs, all to make more money and allocate them to STEM subjects, which are science, technology, engineering, and math. So today I hope to give you an insight of a future without art, and to persuade you to both embrace and promote as much art as possible. I will do so by first telling you where the money is going and why it's going there. I will secondly tell you the reasons that it's necessary to keep the arts in education. And then I will thirdly show you the bleak future if art is completely taken out of the educational system. In 1958, NASA was created, and that changed our world. Technology and science now became a top priority. And of course, America was in the front seat of that bandwagon. And because of this, Eisenhower told fellow Americans that the Soviet Union now has, in combined category with scientists and engineers, a greater number than the US, and is producing graduates in fields much higher rates. So we can't have that. But according to USSatellite.net, which is a web organization supported and created by NASA, after years of education and reform, countless standards, the U.S. still struggles to maintain an edge. So what gives? Even Obama in 2009 recognized that this was a problem, but instead of looking further into it and seeing where this problem was coming from and what the flaw was, he pushed more STEM skills and more money into the STEM subjects. So as a result, students are struggling. Those who are not into the STEM subjects, they don't want to go to school, they don't want to pay attention, their grades are dropping. According to Mark Tucker, president of the National Center for Education and the Economy, he wrote an article in 2012 in Education Weekly stating that countries that are producing people higher in STEM skills are also the countries that don't have STEM subject programs. In fact, the U.S. is 28th in the entire world in the STEM skills. And it's hard to pay attention when you don't want to learn things, when things aren't interesting you. It's hard to pay attention. For instance, this board is plain and white and it says art. For some of you, you've probably already grasped the concept of, wow, she's talking about art, but her board is really boring. What the heck? But turn it around, and all of a sudden you have a world of color and design and formations. And I heard someone react to this poster, and that's funny because when you react to this poster, it stimulates something in your brain. And it makes you want to pay attention more. Even if you're not paying attention to me, I still have your interest. And you see all these colors, and the cogs in your brains, they're working, So art will always be around, and for a good reason too. In 2014, Grace Wang Lynch, author of the PBS organization, wrote Exposure to Art in Developing Kids helps with motor skills, language, cultural awareness, problem solving, and yes, higher academic achievement. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Along with the skills that Lynch describes, it goes much into a deeper, more psychological level. To be literate in today's world, one must be able to understand, analyze, and critique the images that surround us, writes Jay Bullard in 2010, an author of Prentice Hall Publications. He goes on to give an example of a person that goes to sketch, say, a flower. They sit down, they have their piece of paper, and they really have to pay attention to the details in that flower. Why is the stamen so long? Why are the petals so big? Why is it the color it is? So on and so forth. And when this happens, in your brain, in that artist's brain, it arises questions. Well, why is the flower that big? And voila, biology, part of the STEM subjects. Along with developmental advantages, art also works in mysterious ways, such as medicinally. In 2015, Emma Sapola, psychologist at Stanford University, conducted a study in cancer patients. Along with the conventional cancer therapies like chemo and radiation, those patients that were exposed to art actually showed diminution symptoms such as pain, anxiety, and fatigue. But not only that, it also enhanced their life expectancy. The study also found that it helps patients and their families become more self-aware, help to cope with symptoms, and to adapt to stressful and traumatic situations. So that's pretty crazy to think about. And clearly there's something to art than more than meets the eye. But cuts are still being made. So what's our future look like if these cuts are still going to continue to happen? In 2011, James Orlick, Columbia Arts Educator Examiner, published a story in the Examiner stating children without access to art programs are actually risking damage to development, not being exposed to nonverbal modalities, which help learn skills such as reading, writing, and math, more STEM subjects. Did you know that music majors have the highest SAT scores? Kind of interesting to know. If we lack art, we suffer in creativity, we suffer in diversity, and we suffer to understand our surroundings. But the future is bleak without it. Without it, we become uniformed, and uniformity is only a half step away from a totalitarian society, which is not good. So our system is flawed. There's plenty of research supporting arts in education and the benefits, not just in education, but in society as well, medically, in every field. So why aren't things changing? Why are things staying stagnant? We keep going toward this down this detrimental road. Well, I have showed you the realities of budgets being cut and where they're going. I've expressed to you the benefits of art education, and I have opened your eyes to the bleak future. I know that change is hard, but I'm asking you to really take into consideration what I'm saying here today. Whether you have kids or not, expose anyone and everyone to as much art as possible, because the more you open their eyes, the more diverse this world is going to be, and more things can come out of this world, whether it's studying the stars or studying education or dance or music, what have you. Everything has to do with art, so I highly encourage you to get out there and promote it. In fact, I ask you for a favor to do that. I hope I have enlightened you and opened your eyes through this whole process.